Hello. So I kind of wanted to make a video talking about where I am and why I am that way. I know I got the mic right here, it just works better. I hate when it be on my shirt like that. I don't like that. So the reason why this video is titled Protection or Hiding, the fear of being seen and heard is that's kind of what I'm working through once again. And I had to ask myself, why am I working through this again? And I know why I was working through it before. It was the bullying I faced as a child from family. When I would speak on my facts, my opinions, my truth, it was met with harsh criticism. It was met with shame, met with punishment, or it was just ignored like I didn't know what I was talking about. Um, so for me, I think young, I realized, okay, well, it just doesn't matter what I say because people tend to not listen to it anyways. And for me, having fears around being seen, it was the bullying again. Like I faced a lot of bullying from my family for many things. So I had this fear of kind of showing up in any way that wasn't, I don't know what I was comfortable with. If it was things I wasn't comfortable talking about, if it was baggy clothes, like I don't know. I don't think I seen my face, how it really looked, how I really looked until maybe 21, 22, when I really sat down and I see myself and I was like, oh, I'm very pretty because I had body dysmorphia for a long time. So when people were talking about me or telling me how pretty I was, I'd say thank you, but I don't know if I really processed it a lot. And I have been on social media before. I used to post a lot on TikTok and Instagram. And TikTok is really the place where I became vulnerable because I didn't really speak on how I felt and I didn't write before I started TikTok. So I'm writing there, and I'm not only writing, I'm sharing my writings, I'm sharing my fears, I'm sharing my secrets, I'm sharing my pain, I'm sharing my happiness, I'm sharing my confusion, and it gave me this safe space to kind of open up. And I think I was on there so long that that safe space became a crutch for me in a way that was like, okay, I need to branch out. So I did go into hiding for a while because I just had so much I was dealing with. So, like I said, I did go into hiding, and one of the reasons I went into hiding was because I was facing a lot, but I just needed a breather to kind of separate myself from everything. And it started with just being a breather, and then it became me rebuilding myself the way I see myself in my mind. It was more than that. It was years leading up to this where I was detaching from old ideas of who I was and relearning and reparenting myself because I grew up in dysfunction, so I had to kind of get that off of me mentally and realize who I was. In everything I thought about myself from the past, I sat down and I evaluated why I was the way that I was, why I thought this, why I acted this way, why I talked this way, why I said certain things, why I believed certain things. There was years of me doing that. And so I kind of started to build myself back up in a way where I'm a bit more confident. And I'm 25 now. I started this when I was like 18, started healing in my journey when I was 18. And one of the biggest things I want to do when I turned 25 was get in touch with my sensuality, which is what I've been doing. I've been taking classes I've never taken before, doing things I've never done before, and really getting in touch with who I am as a woman. And before, like I said, I wore a lot of baggy clothes and I really didn't do much to my face and my hair. And now it's like completely different where I am showing up physically very different. I'm wearing more feminine clothes. And I don't know, it's very different. I know I keep saying that, but that's what people say when they see me because they're not really used to this side of me because I was used to being very quiet, very in the corner, even a little mean now. I was used to that too. And so relearning myself has been different for me. And I think the biggest fear with me being seen and heard now is the fact that I am so different. And so many of my old social medias have many people on there that know me. And it, not by choice, because every time I started social media, I started with nobody I know. And for some reason, Every time they find me, and it does not matter what platform I'm on, and I find that to be insane because I turn off my locations and I don't have my contacts on, and some of these people do not have my contacts, so I really don't. And I always change my name too, so I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's, I guess it's a fear of being judged or misunderstood again. And I thought it ooh, sorry. I thought at first I was protecting myself, this new self that I built from the ground up, my confidence, my beauty, my intelligence, my wisdom. I thought I was protecting all of it until I realized all I was doing was hiding it because God's been telling me for years to show up and be seen. Um, so it kind of just, when I sat down with myself and asked where this fear is coming from again, I had to acknowledge the fact that I was hiding something that was meant to be shared for a reason. Oh, I have this paper here because I've been writing a lot more. I stopped writing for a while, but I started again. I think I just had a fear of criticism for who I am becoming because who I was before was so condemned by so many people around me. My light was never fed, it was more so eaten. Literally, it was taken from me by so many people. I remember, I think it was the end of last year, I had life spoke to me for the first time in, I don't know, five ever. I just broke down crying because it was the first time I was getting fed. Um, and so I'm just kind of learning how to show up in who I am now, how to show up in this softness, how to show up in my vulnerability, how to show up in the world and do the things I'm meant to do because I do them physically and I do them like in the outside world, but it's very important, and I know it's very important for me to get online and like post, even though I have anxieties about that for some reason. Um, and I know where all this is rooted from, so I'm not too worried about that. But I did want to express it because I know so many people are changing, they are growing, especially this year. This year, karma was meant to push so many people into growth. Um, and so, yeah, the fear of being seen, the fear of being heard is a real thing. The fear of showing your new self is real, especially when you're around the same people who know who you have been. They kind of look at who you are and who you are becoming. I don't know. They look at it like it's a totally different concept because they already have you mapped out in their brains. Um, but I like the fact that I am showing up differently. I like to see people's reactions to me showing up differently. I think a lot of people were, they didn't believe I show up differently, or they look at me very strangely because like I never thought it'd be you, Naughty, and it is. Yes. So yeah, fear of being seen, the fear of being heard. Let me know. Do you have those same fears? And where do they come from?